Hello and welcome to week 9, lesson 1, where we're going to focus on writing compound inequalities. So the learning target for today is writing and graphing a compound inequality statement that is joined by the word and or the word or. So let's take a look at what those words do to the meaning of an inequality. So we will have a test on Thursday and a test on Friday. And then second statement, we will have a test on Thursday or a test on Friday. There's only one word that's different between those two statements. And those two words, the difference is the word and or. And we're going to look at what does that word, that small word there, do to the meaning of each of those statements. Well, and means both things must happen. So we will have a test on Thursday and a test on Friday. That means you're having two tests. Okay. If we will have a test on Thursday or a test on Friday, it could be one or the other. So you just don't know. It could be Thursday or it could be Friday, but you're taking one test on one of those days. So those small words have a big impact on the meaning. Let's take a look at what that looks like with inequalities. Okay. So two inequality statements that are joined together by either the word and or the word or are called compound inequalities. So x is greater than 2 and x is less than 8. So on a number line, let's graph x is greater than 2. Well, that's an open circle, and all the numbers bigger than 2 are to the right. X is less than 8. That's an open circle at 8, and all the numbers to the left. Well, where do those two lines overlap? And you can see it's between them. And so what you'd want to do is you would want to erase the two ends and leave your graph like this. All the numbers between 2 and 8 would fit this situation. Now, what happens if I do or? X is less than 2 or x is greater than 8. So x is less than 2, it's an open circle, shade to the left. X is greater than 8, open circle, shade to the right. So your solutions are going to be in one of these two shaded regions. Another situation, x is greater than 2 or x is less than 8. X is greater than 2, shown there. X is less than 8 is there. Well, if it's an or, I could actually pick any number and it would work in this situation. So what we do is we'd say all the numbers on the number line are solutions here because of the word or. What about and? X is less than 2 and x is greater than 8. Is there any overlap there? There's not. Since there's no overlap, this is one instance where in an inequality you have no solutions. It's not possible to have a number less than 2 and bigger than 8. Okay, so some notation things. With the word and, you can do something with these. We can write and statements without the word and by combining the two statements. By putting x in the middle. X is between the two endpoints. So if I put x is greater than 2, and x is less than 8, it's that shaded spot in the middle. So it's between x is 2 and x is 8. And so we could write that just like that. So x, you see where it's at? It's between 2 and 8. Notice the signs are open, or the circles are open, so the signs are less than. So we'll try another example here. X is greater than 4 and less than or equal to 10. Well, let's take the first part, greater than 4, open circle to the right. Less than or equal to 10 is a filled in circle. There's my graph. Let's write it as an inequality. So between, the shaded region represents the x values. So x is between 4 and 10. But it's bigger than 4, and it's less than or equal to 10. And there's how you get your inequality. Let's try an or. Oh, yep. All real numbers that are less than -3 or greater than 7. So less than -3 would be an open circle at -3, shade to the left. Greater than 7 would be an open circle at 7 and shade to the right. And how do we write this? Well, there's no special way of using ors. It's x is less than -3. You got to use the word or here. X is greater than 7. There's no way of combining those. You can only combine them special with the word and. Okay. Last example, we're going to look at a compound inequality for a situation. Today's temperature will be above 60 degrees, but not as high as 85 degrees. So we're looking at weather here. Well, on a number line, above 60 degrees means it's not going to equal 60 degrees, but it's going to be above that. But it's not as high as 85, so it never reaches 85. So it's an open circle again. We can turn that into a compound inequality. X represents my temperatures, and it's between 60 and 85. X is bigger than 60, but it's also less than 85. And that's how you would write that. And that concludes lesson 1, writing compound inequalities.